Hi, clowns. Welcome to Crimelia Street. I'm Tori.
And I'm Sam.
And we are gathered here today.
Yes. I feel like that's just going to be it for now. Or forever. Who knows?
I honestly like it.
I was just going to say we both have, it's the last night, or the first night in Indianapolis, which is the last stop in the U.S. for the Eras Tour. So we got that up just in case.
Just in case.
Because you know us, we clowning.
Last time we did get a new bodysuit, so you never know. I actually have, for my mastermind tonight, I do have a new body. We've got to see that other one at some point. With the taller boots.
Right. We need it.
When are we getting it?
It has to mean something.
Is she just going to wear it for one show? Doesn't she want to wear it a little bit?
Right. Let it have its time in the sun, you know?
That snake wants to bask.
Right. Yes. That's funny. I was just going to say, we didn't notice it when we talked about it, when it debuted, the new Rep bodysuit. But there is, a definite, two shape on the back of her bodysuit.
Is it in the snakes?
Yeah. And it's, seriously, it's like a 2. Come on.
Okay.
So, just saying.
What do you think? Do you think that goes into the 3-2-1 theory? I have a new theory. We can save that for the end.
Okay, I'm excited for that. Yay! But yeah, we'll discuss that more at the end because we're definitely gonna need a palate cleanser after this story.
Oh, okay.
But so your name is May As Well Call Me Bozo.
May as well.
Yep, because you know us.
And I just can't stop making clown puns.
Forever clowning.
I don't know if we will clown evermore again after December 8th. I'm kidding, we will.
Gosh.
We'll still have reason, but it's really hitting the feels lately.
Yes, for sure. And that last time that Karma is played and because that's the last song.
Yeah.
That's why if the 2 last albums aren't announced during the tour, it will be okay because it will give us something to look forward to.
That's true.
You
yeah.
know?
Okay. That's
it's kind of.
I like how you're mentally prepping us for that moment.
Right.
We can use it.
I'm managing expectations.
Yes. Yep. Sam today is Taylor's Chai Tea Cookies. And I love that because we've really moved from Thanksgiving. We're in Christmas season now, as Taylor Nation announced today on their Instagram. It's November 1st when we're recording this, so Merry fucking Christmas. 'Tis the damn season.
Merry Christmas. Yes, you filthy animals. And, it is where I live in Oregon, it's very much cold. Today is cold and rainy, and you just want to get bundled up. And the leaves are all beautiful, and it's just, you just want Taylor's Chai Tea.
So
cookies.
jealous. Yes.
Well, should we get into the story?
The sad stuff.
The sad stuff.
Let's do it.
All right, yeah, let's go. Here's everyone's trigger warning. This is just, talks about suicide and crazy religious stuff, really. So, just to put it out there. And we are going to be entering some cult territory here. Okay.
Our first cult episode. Okay.
Yeah. I'm whew. Okay. So, on March 26, 1997, an anonymous tip called into the San Diego County Sheriff's Office was about a mass suicide that had been committed in a mansion in the Rancho Santa Fe suburb. Upon entering the mansion, the deputy entered through the side door and immediately noticed a very pungent odor before he discovered a room full of bodies. The bodies were in various states of decomposition, and they definitely had been there for a few days. And as I mentioned, the smell, they had been sitting in the house in the hot California sun, no AC. So you can imagine. I mean, I guess I couldn't, because I've never smelled anything like that before, but I imagine it was completely awful.
I've smelled animals,
So,
and it's got to be kind of similar, but like I heard that it is like, anyways, distinct with humans. We don't have to get into all that, but
right, right. No, I've heard the same thing for sure. So he called for backup, and more authorities arrived, and they found a total of 39 bodies, all wearing an identical uniform of sorts. They were all in black tracksuits with a patch on the left shoulder that said Heaven's Gate Away Team and $5.75 exactly in their pockets, a $5 bill and 3/4. They were all wearing the same black Nike shoes, and they were all neatly placed on beds scattered throughout the house. Each member had packed a small duffel bag with clothing, lip balm, and spiral notebooks, which was set at the foot of each bed. A good amount of the men had been castrated, and all but 2 bodies had a purple cloth covering their face and their torso. The other 2 bodies were found with plastic bags over their heads.
can you say the date when they got the call again? I didn't have my pen
Yes.
in hand yet.
That was March the 26th, 1997.
Oh, okay, 97.
The person who called in the tip was actually a former member of the cult that was known as Heaven's Gate, named Rio D'Angelo. He lived a few hours away, but had received a package the day before that contained 2 VHS tapes. One was a series of farewell messages from 38 of the members, and the other tape was labeled as Doe's Final Exit, which was an interview with the leader of the group. There was also a letter instructing D'Angelo to share the group's story with the world and where to find the bodies, as well as statements like, "We have exited our vehicles just as we entered them." The farewell messages from the members, it's so eerie to watch them. I watched a few,
No. Oh, wow.
and some are clearly kind of upset, but others are super happy and like they're really excited to do this, and it's just really, really strange and eerie to watch, obviously.
Right.
So, do you remember hearing anything about? We were just kids, but do you remember hearing anything about this?
I don't think I've ever heard anything about this.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, I don't know if this is like a false memory. I feel like I would have been 8 years old. So maybe it's like I saw something on the news passing by or whatever, but yeah, I don't remember hearing much about this either. Or I can't remember when I first learned about this, you know what I mean?
I will say these circumstances are very detailed. The $5
Yeah.
bill with the 3/4, the purple cloths, but 2 with plastic bags. Like, did they just run out of purple cloths, or were these people being shamed with their plastic bags?
Yes, those are very good questions.
Also, the 38 members, is it only 38 because the last was the exit interview? That was the 39th. So there's 38, like, farewells.
Right, yep. And then the
Okay.
39th one was the other VHS tape from the
Yeah.
leader, whose name is, they refer to him as Doe, D-O, but I'll also go or explain that more
Okay. Poor Rio.
further. I know.
Wow.
Because, yeah, I couldn't find much info about him, just that he was the former member. But, yeah, I'll definitely talk a bit more about that. There's lots of, this case was, I have so many notes, but also just things that I've picked up that I didn't necessarily write down that I'll probably just, like, throw in there, and that's actually kind of one of them. So, I'm sure I'll remember. So, I'm going to get into the chain of events that actually spanned a couple decades that led to these 39 people taking their own lives.
Okay.
So the Heaven's Gate cult, I'm just going to call it a cult. Even the leader referred to it as a cult. He said it was a cult of truth.
Okay.
Sometimes I'll say group, though. You'll see. So the Heaven's Gate cult was founded by 2 members. One of them was named Marshall Applewhite, who was born on May 17th, 1931, in Spur, Texas, to Marshall Sr., who was a strict Presbyterian minister, and his wife Louise. And he had 3 other siblings. The family moved around frequently and was known for being very involved in the church. After high school, Marshall went on to earn a bachelor's degree in philosophy in 1952. And after that, he continued on to seminary to study theology to become a minister.
This sounds a lot like a Tinder boy that I'm dating.
Oh, yeah. Uh-oh.
I know.
That's funny.
Yeah. He's very involved with the church, and he got his philosophy degree. I'm like, are these red flags all of a sudden?
Right. Is this some reincarnation going on? Because that's what they kind of believed in.
Oh, boy.
Right. So while in seminary, he met a woman named Ann Pierce, and they went on to get married and have 2 children named Mark and Lane. He later found a lot of happiness with singing, so he shifted his focus from theology to music and ended up becoming a music director for a church in North Carolina. Is he named Mark? Just kidding.
I think that flew over my head.
Oh, I was just asking if...
Chris.
Yeah.
Chris.
Chris, okay.
It seems like a Mark would be reincarnated as a Chris, though, if we're being honest.
I mean, right. Same.
Shoot,
Same lane there.
Keep an eye on him.
Right, for sure. In 1954, he was drafted by the Army and served in Austria and New Mexico. He left in 1956 and then enrolled in the University of Colorado, where he got his master's in music and musical theater. After graduating, he wanted to sing professionally, so he moved the family to New York City, which was unsuccessful. He began to teach music at the University of Alabama. And here is where some trouble starts.
Uh-oh.
In 1965, Marshall was fired after accusations of him having a sexual relationship with one of his male students came to light. His wife, Anne, left and divorced him when all this came out. And also when his father found out, he was furious and pretty much estranged him.
Oh my gosh.
Which would have lasting effects on Marshall.
Okay.
I mean, if you could think about the atmosphere in 1965, I guess it was like the decade of love, quote unquote, but especially like homosexual relationships in the South like that were not really accepted.
Right. And I'm sure that's why his dad is so pissed too, because of that, not because he cheated on his wife.
Exactly. So after leaving University of Alabama, Marshall moved on to Houston, where he served as the chair of the music department at the University of St. Thomas, and he also began performing with the Houston Grand Opera. His students really liked him, said he was very charismatic, he had a really cool sense of style, and just a really nice guy. It is reported that he had a relationship with a woman, but she ended up leaving him as well because of it seemed like he was bisexual. It was kind of known that he had relationships with men as well, so who knows if he was just with women like as a cover or if he was truly bisexual. Doesn't matter, but she left him because of it, either way.
Okay.
These issues with his sexuality and him coming to terms with who he is actually a huge factor in this whole story. Like, it affects so much, which is really sad, honestly.
Right. Okay. Yeah, because that might not be the same if it happened today.
Right.
Maybe.
Like, always trying to suppress who you are.
Right.
Trying to get away from that.
That is sad.
Right. Okay. So he resigned from the university in 1970 due to what he said emotional and mental problems that he was going through. But there are many reports that that it was actually because of another affair between himself and another student. Or maybe it's both.
Right.
In 1971, his father died, which also took a huge emotional toll on him as they never got to reconcile. So, here we bring in the next member or the next leader of the group. And there are mixed reports on how exactly Marshall Applewhite and a woman named Bonnie Nettles met. Marshall had stated that he met Bonnie in 1972 when he was visiting a friend in the hospital. I've also read accounts of him being hospitalized due to a complete mental breakdown that was witnessed by other people during one of the opera rehearsals. And then another story that I read is that he was hospitalized because of heart issues. But he says he was visiting a friend in the hospital. But either way...
Did she, work at the hospital or something? Is that...
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah, she was a registered nurse at the hospital.
Okay.
Regardless of how they met, their meeting would lead to the largest mass suicide committed on U.S. soil a few decades later.
Damn.
So, Bonnie Lou Truesdale was born on August 29th, 1927 in Houston, Texas, into a Baptist family. And although she grew up religious, as she got older, she began to have an interest in more New Age spirituality. Things like crystals, astrology, ghosts, fortune telling, and UFOs. She became a registered nurse and married a man named Joseph Nettles in December of 1949 and had 4 children. Their marriage was great, smooth sailing, until around the early 1970s when she began holding seances in their home and was saying that a 19th century monk named Brother Francis was delivering messages and instructions to her.
Okay. Mm-hmm. So Joseph didn't take to that super well.
Right. He wasn't a fan of this whole thing with Mr. Brother Francis. Yeah. It was a little alarming.
I would think. Yeah. Okay. Mm-hmm. Interesting.
Right.
I wonder
and instructions.
Too, right. What were the instructions? Is Brother Francis he said that you should do the dishes today, or what are the messages?
Message.
I'd like to know.
Yeah, for real. Yeah, he was sick of it. And she also had a few different instances that she has said with fortune tellers telling her that she was going to meet a mysterious man with light hair and a fair complexion very soon, and that together that they would deliver a message to the world. Okay. So,
I feel that kind of gives you some confirmation bias, too.
Right.
You're telling everyone you have to meet someone who looks like this. Well, as soon as you cross paths with someone who looks like that, I don't know.
It's see? Mm-hmm. They told me.
Found him.
And now it's true. Well, just if they indeed told her that, and that isn't some hyperbole that she was saying, it's not some story she made up in her head. Right. If it was true, it was probably the most unfortunate that this particular dude is who she met. Either way, however they met, Marshall Applewhite and Bonnie Nettles crossed paths in March of 1972. They made an instant connection with each other, and of course he matched the description of the mysterious man the fortune tellers told her about. Mm-hmm. Bonnie performed an astrological reading for Marshall and was completely shocked at his birth chart because apparently it showed that they had known each other in their past lives, and according to her readings, they were destined to change the world with a divine mission.
Wow.
Yep. She also told him that aliens had told her that she would meet him.
Everyone is at play here.
Right. So this is a combination of things that Marshall have said and things that they have told their followers as well.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So this is just everything that they're letting us know.
Okay.
Marshall had explained to her that he was actually dealing with voices in his head and emotional problems. And Bonnie explained to him that these voices were actually divine beings calling him to a higher purpose.
Yeah, that's not a
In just
problem.
a few months. Right, yeah, no big deal. This is all
Uh-uh.
normal.
Hmm.
Everything's
You are the
fine.
chosen one. Right.
So, just a few months after meeting in June, Bonnie left her family, her husband, and her 4 children, and herself
Damn.
and Marshall began on a journey across the United States. It was at a time, like, apparently in the 70s, it's like the Vietnam War was ending. The year 2000 was like looming over people's heads. People were really freaked out about it.
Huh.
There were reports of UFOs being seen. It was all these like little events that a lot of like religious groups actually thought that the world was legitimately ending,
Wow.
apparently. Like even like
Okay.
a lot of Christians thought it was like the end times.
Wow.
There were lots of cults in the United States during this
Okay.
time,
Huh.
because it said that people were just really like disillusioned from like the 60s, and a
Hmm.
lot of them were searching for the higher purpose and all that. So it just
Interesting.
led into all these like kind of new age spirituality
Mm-hmm. It's all
cult
the old
situations.
hippies looking for something to be a part of.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yes.
Interesting.
So Bonnie and Marshall were traveling around the United States, just doing like, odd jobs here and there. They didn't seem romantic, didn't seem to have a
Oh.
sexual relationship. It was purely like life partner.
Interesting. I didn't see that come in. I just assumed romantic.
It was just like this connection, like they were thinking like similar thoughts, which I'll also go into that later. Marshall, he's been fired a few times. He's struggling with his sexuality, and but he believes in this religion. Bonnie knew a bit about the religion, but was very interested in things like UFOs. And so what they begin to do is the beliefs of Heaven's Gate is a like conglomeration of both of their beliefs that they just fit in together and make sense in their
Hmm.
heads.
Okay.
And it's just very interesting to see the little different rules that they have. So they haven't really gained any followers yet. They're still kind of figuring out what it is that they believe. However, in August of 1974, so this is a couple years later, Marshall was arrested in Harlingen, Texas for failing to return a rental car. He was sent back to St. Louis to jail for 6 months. He always maintained his innocence, saying he was divinely authorized to keep the car.
No, the big man upstairs said it was okay.
Right, it's cool, man.
Talk to him.
I'm going to use that excuse.
Oh my
Um,
gosh.
yeah. So during this time in jail, Bonnie would visit him daily, and they would study passages from the New Testament and just different science fiction works. They're like, okay, we know what we believe now. And upon his release, they decided to start to share their beliefs with whoever would listen. This naturally brings up the question, what did they believe?
Yes.
Okay,
I'd
well,
like to
they
hear the
started to.
specifics.
Oh, girl, strap in.
Oh god.
So Marshall and Bonnie began to go by a few different names, like Guinea and Pig was one, Bo and Pete. But eventually they settled on Marshall being called Doe, D-O, and Bonnie being called T, T-I. And this was in reference to the musical The Sound of Music, which of course Marshall was a huge fan of musical theater and things.
Right.
So Doe and T, that's
Wow.
their names.
I bet they were so much fun around Halloween.
Right?
Those
I
couples
bet.
costumes.
For real. Oh dear.
Oh my god.
Now, together, though, they called themselves the Two, and they believed that they were the two witnesses that are talked about in the Bible, specifically in Revelation chapters 11, verses 3 through 12, which are terrifying if you read them. But basically what it says is there's two witnesses that come forth to prophesize a message about the return of Christ. They're later martyred and raised from the dead. They taught that followers could transform themselves into immortal extraterrestrial beings by rejecting their human nature, which would send them into heaven, aka the next level.
Jeez.
Or they would also call it the evolutionary level above human. And they believed that this was an actual, like, physical change, that by ridding yourself of all your human desires and stuff, it would physically make your body transform into this different alien body. Like, you would get a new body.
Oh, wow.
So this isn't just some, like, some spiritual transformation, in that you would be beamed up by a UFO once you made that change.
This has got me down bad. I'm so sorry. I couldn't not. I'm sorry.
Dude, no. And it's crazy because this wasn't some, like, scheme to get rich, because they did not like human possessions, because they were trying to get rid of everything that made them human,
wow.
right?
So delusional.
And
they're just delusional.
Completely. They clearly just, like, encourage each other in these delusions, because this is technically like an offshoot of Christianity, which I'll also go into more. It seems that, okay, Marshall was struggling. T seems to be kind of like the mastermind, because she knew all about the UFO stuff. Marshall knew more about the Christianity side of things, and they were trying to make them both make sense. So they're like, ha, we know.
Oh my gosh. And they're just like in this echo chamber too.
Exactly. And they spent a lot of time alone together, so that was just a few years of them just getting all these plans. So they believed that they were the two witnesses being brought forth to lead others to this next level before the earth was recycled. That's their words. Before the earth was recycled via something called the demonstration, which would trigger the end of the world.
Right, which is why I'm interested to see how they ended up where they ended up, because it sounds like they just think that this change is just going to happen, so they must, like, get frustrated at some point that I don't know. You know me, I'm always trying to jump to the end.
Oh, yeah.
Or predict the end.
So they also believe that when Jesus ascended into heaven after he was resurrected, in the Bible it describes it as he ascended into a cloud. But they said that the cloud was actually a UFO. The authors of the Bible just didn't have a word for a UFO yet, so they said cloud.
Right. Didn't the Egyptians too have, like, UFOs and stuff in their, like, hieroglyphics? Like,
I've seen things
I feel like
that,
a UFO could have been described.
Right. Or also
without saying cloud.
And actually, I know, because a UFO looks very different than a cloud. The UFO that they're specifically talking about does not look like a cloud.
Okay.
And also, I learned it in art history a few semesters ago, but in, like, Peru, there's all these carvings in the ground that you can only see from, like, a bird's eye view, and some of them do look like astronauts, and people are like, what are these? Yeah, and some of them kind of mimic the Egyptian ones, which of course is across the world. So yeah, just weird aliens.
And we know from the government that a UFO is a cube.
Yes. Of course. So they would do little lectures at universities all across the states, but they weren't really gaining too much traction until they arrived in the small coastal town of Newport, Oregon, which I've actually been to before. And they were handing out flyers about UFOs and information about a little lecture that they would be holding while they were in town. And the flyer was like, this isn't a discussion about UFO sightings. It's about why they're here and when they're coming and what you can do to go with them. And these two people are here to share this information with y'all. So they had their little meeting, and people said that their meeting, it was like electric. They said it seemed like tea and dough. it seemed like they had like a haze surrounding them and their
Oh
eyes
my
were
gosh,
really
the aura.
bright.
Wow.
Right. And that one of the members said when Marshall touched him, he saw an image, a UFO in his head.
Are they
And
dosing
it
these
just like,
people?
you know what? I'm starting to think you're on to something there with that because I didn't think about that before. But it's like, that sounds familiar. No, just kidding.
Right. No, I've seen that too. I've seen God. No,
Right.
I'm kidding.
Right. Regardless, their way of talking and their way of speaking really attracted a certain type of person.
Delusional
So,
person? Or
right. As you said, definitely lots of like kind of hippies and
okay.
a lot of science fiction lovers. Because
Okay. I guess that would track, yeah.
right.
Aliens. Okay.
They started gaining the notoriety just because 20 people from this very small town would end up selling all of their possessions and abandoning their lives completely to join them on this
Wow.
journey. So there are like all these like news articles about it. Did they really get beamed up or did they just go with these two people? They didn't actually disappear. They just stopped talking to all their family and sold out
They
the
were
shit.
isolated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So eventually they gained around 200 followers through events like this throughout the country. They were always just claiming to be extraterrestrials from another planet, searching for other like-minded people because as far as they were concerned, Marshall and Bonnie, they were already like physically perfect. They were just here to bring the message. That's what they believed. And so once they did get enough followers, they started to become very reclusive. From 1976 to 1979, they pretty much lived in poverty. They would complete odd jobs here and there. They would all sleep in tents and sleeping bags and campsites. And then eventually the large group would split up into smaller groups that Bonnie would call star clusters. So they would kind of separate and try to recruit other members, but they weren't being so open about it at this point. So eventually they realized that they needed more money to survive pretty much. A lot of the members were into IT and they helped build websites and databases for a few random companies like in Germany, the UK, and randomly a Christian music store. And this started to bring in plenty of money. And then there was also a few members ended up getting a pretty large inheritance from their family, and that supplied them with money as well, and they began to rent out homes.
Okay.
So there were some rules.
Oh, wow.
Some strange rules. There were rules like you shouldn't be clumsy or
Oh, God. Oh, God.
Right. I know.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
I would be out in a heartbeat.
Exactly.
They would eat me.
Me too.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah. You couldn't be clumsy. You weren't allowed to question the leaders, of course.
Oh, of course.
Duh.
Yeah.
Another one was celibacy and no
Come
sexual
on.
touching
Why
or
do they
thoughts.
all got to do that?
Right. And I
Can't
honestly,
people
if
be
you think about
happy?
it, this is like, I know. This had to be because of Marshall's internalized homophobia. He was struggling so much with his sexual thoughts that was just the rule. Which is
I
weird
feel
because
like
he's
it's
supposed to be perfect.
right. I feel like it's a weird control thing too, because when people do like form that bond, then they're more likely to like, discuss things amongst themselves and maybe like leave eventually. But if they keep people from forming that bond, then I don't know,
Right.
they have
That makes a
an
lot of
extra
sense.
layer of control.
Yeah, for sure. So, yeah, no sexual thoughts, no romantic relationships.
Oh, no thoughts either.
Couldn't be clumsy. You couldn't, you had to keep your thoughts very simple and pure. You couldn't, think too much into things.
Can you imagine us ADHD girlies? Like, I'd be at the whipping post.
We would not last an hour in that asylum.
I'd be like, wait a minute, if I sign up, you mean my thoughts will chill out?
Right. Dope.
Oh my God, okay.
Oh. They also were to give up their original names, and this was kind of weird because it would all be like if someone was named Mark, it would be Marody, or if your name was Jack, it would be Jackody or something. It was just the first like three letters of the name, which were capitalized, and then Odie at the end. Right.
Such creativeness.
I know. Everyone's so creative. They were all to be as uniform as possible, so they all wore very androgynous, neutral colored clothing, and they all cut their hair short. And anything catering to your ego was forbidden. They went on a very strict diet, and every few months they would go on this cleanse of lemon juice, cayenne pepper, and maple syrup. I'm like, didn't Beyonce say to do that?
Did you?
I feel like I read it like a long time ago.
Huh. How long were they on the cleanse for?
They would do it for 3 months at a time.
Oh my God. I'm surprised people don't die from that. I guess you're getting calories. It's got to clean the gut out.
And also, so there was to be no contact at all with your family or friends outside of the group, even their own children. So women and men obviously were leaving their children, but there's one couple who joined in particular who they had 3 children. She was pregnant with twin girls. Her husband found them on their website and told her about it, so they both agreed to join up together. So not even like 2 weeks after she gave birth, they left their newborn daughters and everything to join this cult. And
oh my God,
so sad. And at one point, so apparently the wife was kind of having second thoughts.
Yeah.
And they also, of course, had to split because they were husband and wife, and they had to split. But she was starting to have doubts. So Doe, or Marshall, told the husband to go out to the store to get something or whatever. And by the time he came back, his wife was completely like, no, let's do this. I want to stay in the cult. So whatever he had said to her convinced her immediately to stay. And that's like,
oh my gosh,
scary. Yeah, it's really strange. That's a story I heard about on another podcast about this. But that just was really sad to me.
Yeah, and the twins too. Jeez.
I know. So they would rent these huge homes, and to avoid detection of so many people living there, only a few people were allowed to go outside. And the rest had to stay inside, and they would like keep all the windows covered. And then there would be these shifts of members who were supposed to stay outside at nighttime and keep watch on the sky for the UFO that could come at any moment. They wanted to remain somewhat secretive once they gained enough followers, so the lack of outside influence would help the crew members achieve that higher evolutionary level above human, which Marshall and Bonnie were already there. They were just there to help. Marshall and Bonnie would sometimes make sudden drastic changes to the group. On one occasion, while they were staying in Texas, they told their followers of a forthcoming visit from extraterrestrials and instructed them to wait outside all night, at which point afterwards they informed them that it had just been a test. Just kidding. This was a test. So Marshall would often emphasize to his students that they were free to disobey if they chose to, but they did make it clear that they would just be abandoned if they didn't follow the rules. So that no one was pointing a gun to these people's heads, but there was definitely like some brainwashing going on.
Right. And then kind of isolating them from everyone else, and then being like, well, you're on your own now if you don't listen to what we say. Because
good luck, the earth is being recycled.
Right.
And it was going to be recycled by these beings called Luciferians.
Sounds like a Christian thing. I've heard that.
Exactly. Yeah. A little suspicious here. See what I mean? How like everything they're saying is just like a mix of Christianity with aliens.
Yes. Yeah.
They're like, we solved the answer to life's biggest question.
We've got it. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. And so also at this point they did start getting really strict with the rules, and Marshall started to emphasize quality over quantity in regards to his followers.
Okay.
And at this point, they also believed that Marshall was Jesus reincarnated.
Okay.
They're like, no, he's Jesus. Surprise. We just figured that out. He's Jesus. By 1980, their numbers dwindled down to around 80 people. Many of the members still had jobs making databases, websites. There were a lot of car mechanics. And then Marshall and Bonnie finally allowed the members to call their families in 1982.
Oh,
And actually,
wow.
in 1983, they allowed the members to visit their families for Mother's Day. But this was because a lot of the families were making a big hoopla and contacting like the FBI and all this stuff. Because they're like, are they still alive? I don't know. They just left with this group. But they let them do this, and they were told to tell their families that they were studying computers in a monastery. To give the illusion, I guess, that they were free to come and go as they pleased. It's fine. I'm just studying computers in a monastery, Mom. Come on. So, yeah, things were just kind of bopping along until 1983 when Bonnie had to have an eye removed because apparently, and they didn't tell the followers this, but she had been diagnosed with cancer several years prior. And also remember, they've been telling their followers that they are physically perfect.
Perfect. Yeah. And cancer is the opposite of that.
She lived for a few more years and then ended up passing away in 1985, which shocked the cult. And also Marshall, of course.
Yeah, it's just crazy that like he could say that he's shocked when it's like,
right,
you knew she had cancer. Like it wasn't just gonna bippity bop away. Like I don't know.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
So at this point, Marshall was on his own and he had to come up with an explanation for her death. I mean, probably to protect his own worldview, and also to reassure the others. Right. So he came up with it. Surprise, surprise. He told the followers that she had to travel to the next level. She was ready, obviously, because she simply had too much energy to remain on Earth. And her next level body burned up her Earth body, and that it presented itself as cancer, but that was just all of her energy.
How long do you think it took him to come up with that? I'd say 15 minutes.
It's something like that. From what the member said, this guy was a mess. He was not doing good. He was shooketh. I mean, that was his lifeline to the next level because it just they really believe this. All but one member accepted this new belief, but despite that, Bonnie dying, it just really shook him, as I mentioned, to his core, and he just became very depressed. And he still, even though he came up with this new explanation, he just had this huge crisis of faith, which he now had to try and give more reasons for. It's like the cognitive dissonance is unreal. So he began to tell his students, his followers, she actually still communicated with him. And now he actually believed that she was actually the Heavenly Father God. So he was the Jesus, she was the Heavenly Father, the Son. And he would even refer to her as he.
Oh, wow.
And then he began to tell his students that instead of it being like this physical, actual change, the metamorphosis to reach the next level.
Here we go.
It could also be a spiritual change triggered by death.
There it is.
Yep. So he hadn't mentioned suicide yet, but he was saying, let's say one of us gets in a car accident, blah, blah, blah. That's why you need to make sure that you're ready at any moment to ascend. Is pretty much what he was saying. Marshall began to rely on his students actually for more emotional support, which they gave, and it kind of shifted more from being about like this is what you need to do to get to the next level, it shifted to focus on like him more because he was going through all these issues, and that caused like a lot of kind of problems within the group. But yeah, he was definitely going through some like severe abandonment issues, because he then organized a ceremony in which he married all of his followers. He sat in the middle of a circle, and they would all come up to him and kneel, and he would kiss them on the forehead, and he gave them each a ring to wear. And apparently he was just like sobbing the entire time. He began to be just super paranoid about the government raiding their group, the impending apocalypse, and he started to compare Earth to an overgrown garden with weeds, and that anyone who didn't believe in what they believed in were being brainwashed by the Luciferians.
Oh my gosh.
You know, the government was, of course, in on it. So by the late 1980s and early 90s, the group had gotten smaller, down to about 26 people. And in May of 1993, Marshall decided it would be a good idea to spend around $30,000 for nearly a full-page ad in USA Today, just warning of Earth's upcoming recycling and urging people to join, saying this is your last chance.
So he does want more followers at this point.
At this point, yeah, he's like, I don't have enough people, so I need to get more people. More people! This, along with a few public lectures that he started doing again, brought back actually 20 former members, as well as a few new followers as well.
Can you, like, it's crazy that people would go back. Like, after leaving, being back out. You'd think you'd get back out in the world and be like, oh, wow, like, how was I so brainwashed, you know? Caught up in that.
That was crazy.
Right.
Right.
Interesting. Just like the psychology behind that.
I know, it's wild. From June to October 1995, the group moved to New Mexico, and this is where they begin to teach suicide as a possible way of reaching the next level, explaining that everything human had to be forsaken before one could ascend. 1995 is when suicide started to be discussed. He also became really focused on suppressing his sexual desire. He had this one kind of right-hand man who he, at this time, told him that his vehicle was being attracted to this other member's vehicle, and that he basically, you gotta go. You can't come with us. And that's another thing. They had different words for things, like money was sticks. Your body was a vehicle. The laundry room was the fiber lab. And the kitchen was the Nutra lab. And I think it's the underwear was like your like skin suit covering or something. Like, it was just all this weird stuff.
What the heck? The fiber lab is my favorite.
Yeah. Hey, I gotta get the clothes from the fiber lab. But yeah, it's like, my vehicle is being attracted to yours, so
get your vehicle out of here.
You can't sit with us anymore.
Oh my gosh. Well, blessing for that vehicle.
I know, right. And this guy was actually kind of like a D-list actor from Hollywood that joined the cult. I forget his name, but
oh wow.
But just because like he was having all these problems suppressing his sexual desires, he decided that castration was the best solution. And wouldn't you know it, most of the male members of the group lined up for it. They were for it. So they had a hard time finding a surgeon to do this. One, because they wanted to be discreet because they were trying to fly under the radar because of the Luciferians. And two, like I don't think you could just go to a surgeon and be like, hey, I want to be castrated. So
a surgeon
there was
agreed to this.
Well, there was a member of the group who had been a former nurse who said that they would give it a shot. So they set up a room in the house that they were staying in. They put a sign that said Mexico above the door. That way that They could say that they got the procedure done in Mexico if they were ever questioned by authorities so that no one could get in trouble. So the lucky first member got the procedure done. However, surprise, surprise, he started to have some complications from the surgery. Probably like an infection or I don't know. I don't know. So the members kind of panicked and they just dropped him off at the hospital to get the medical attention he needed. And then they proceeded to just yeet his testicles off of a bridge to get rid of the evidence.
Wow. Okay, so castration, it's the removal of the testicles, but not the penis.
Right, yeah, because I guess
Okay.
the testicles, that's where the testosterone comes from or something, and to get rid of
Okay.
the sex hormones.
Okay.
So after
Did that member come back?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
So eventually they did realize that they needed a professional for this. So Marshall and 7 other men ended up actually going to Mexico to get the procedure done. And so they were all castrated in Mexico.
They probably got drugs at least, because that first guy probably didn't get drugs.
Oh my God, I didn't even think about that because another one of their rules was no alcohol or drugs. Yikes. Okay, well, moving right along.
I'm having trouble moving past that.
I also just think like just throwing his testicles off of a bridge into the water below. Like, bye.
It's rough. That's rough.
It's rough out here. In October of 1996, the group moved one last time to San Diego and they rented a mansion in the Rancho Santa Fe area. Here, they learned of this comet that comes around once every 4,000 years called Hale-Bopp that was going to pass by Earth. And Marshall came to the conclusion that Bonnie was in a spaceship that was trailing the comet.
Okay. And Bonnie was in it.
This was her coming for them. They started to record video messages that told the viewer that this was their last chance to evacuate Earth before it was recycled. They had a website, which is still up, by the way. And yeah, they uploaded this to their website. And then in late March 1997, the group recorded their farewell statements. And I think I mentioned this earlier on. Some did seem super happy and excited. Some are like clearly like upset, but they're doing it. But they all collectively like praised Doe or Marshall in their final messages. And Marshall's separate final video explained the suicides as their final exits. And he said, "We do in all honesty hate this world." So the group was last seen on Friday, March the 21st, 1997 at a Marie Callender's restaurant, which I thought was just a frozen food company, but no.
I thought
There
so
was a
too.
restaurant.
Huh. Okay. Chicken pot pies, I'm sure.
Oh, yeah. The 39 members all ate the same final meal, which consisted of an iced tea, a salad with a tomato vinaigrette, a turkey pot pie, and a blueberry cheesecake for dessert. The suicides began on March the 22nd, and it consisted of 3 rounds that occurred over 3 days. The members were instructed to mix a large amount of phenobarbital, which is a common end-of-life drug, with applesauce or pudding. They were then to chug some vodka, which is probably also laced with phenobarbital too. And they were then to secure a plastic bag over their head and to lie down and just relax. Just relax.
Wow.
Right.
Yeah.
Just relax.
Oh my gosh. And then to be like not in the first round and see that happen, and oh my gosh.
Right.
Those people had to be pretty scared, honestly.
Dude, for sure. And who knows if like those other people had to like force hold the bag, because like your natural instinct, if you're still kind of awake, would probably to take it off, you know? So Marshall was one of the last 4 to die. There was 3 assistants that assisted him with his suicide, and then they placed the purple cloth over him and then did the process themselves, and there's just 2 remaining who were just unable to cover themselves, and their plastic bags were left on their head.
So that explains that. Wow.
Right. And unfortunately, that's the end. This devastated, obviously, so many different families who haven't heard from their loved ones in some months, some years. Some had been there from the beginning. Some were recent members. I think the youngest member was 25.
Yeah,
It's
what are you
really
going to do
sad.
when you've been isolated from your friends and family too, and you don't, have a career, you don't make money on your own, like you live in this house with these people. It's hard to get out of that once you're in that situation. That's so sad.
Yep.
Damn, 40 people.
Bonnie's daughter said that she learned about her mother's death like months later after it happened. Like a couple of the members went up to her and were like, "Oh, by the way,"
Jesus.
and just like all the children and the grandkids of the people now, and
Wow. Yeah, that's got a far reach.
that's the story.
That's a heavy cult episode. I'm not gonna lie,
Yeah.
you said cult and I was like, oh, it'll be, like a little, it'll be interesting, but like maybe not that heavy.
Right. I was a little surprised too because it just seemed, and we kind of talked about this a bit when I first mentioned I was going to do a cult, how there's like, if there's something like the McDonald triad, but for
Yeah.
people to join cults, and it did seem like these people were all, as you saw, there were people in IT. There were like a lot of like seemingly well developed like people
Like all
who
over
just
the
got
board.
like
Yeah.
sucked in. But I guess maybe just that's all surface level, and I mean there has to be something else. Or could anyone be at risk of joining a cult? I don't know.
That is the
So,
and I think that's like the most interesting thing about learning about cults too. It's you think like you want to think, oh, I would never do that, but people do. And it's like what can, like what puts people in that state to where they're open to doing that. Yeah. Well,
yeah.
good research. That was a good one.
Thanks. It was interesting, and the website's really creepy.
Oh, I can't believe it's still up.
I know. Like, who is maintaining that? Who is paying for it?
Who is paying for that? That's a great point.
I think it's just heavensgate.com. Yeah. And you could tell it looks very similar to how it probably would have.
Ew.
Like, there's no flash. Just basic HTML here.
Bop brings closure to.
It's like they're still trying to explain and come up with reasons, I guess, why Earth hasn't ended yet. I don't know. It's weird. Our 22 years of classroom here on planet Earth is finally coming to conclusion. Graduation from the human evolutionary level. We are happily prepared to leave this world and go with T's crew. Now that's creepy.
That is so creepy. The exit press release.
Ew, yeah. It also says, if you study the material on this website, you will hopefully understand our joy and what our purpose here on Earth has been. You may even find your boarding pass to leave with us during this brief window.
Dude, what the fuck? That's really freaky, that last bit.
It's like, no, you can keep the boarding pass.
Yeah. I have a 4 in Mastermind so far. I have 4 points.
Oh, let me check.
Yep, still 4. The only thing I've gotten
I-
right was the blue guitar.
Oh, nice. I have a 10.
Wow. Yeah. I went full on clown mode with mine tonight. So for the listeners, what I had in my mind was she's going all green. Whether it's for debut or reputation or debutation, we're going teal or green. So I was like, we don't have a teal leather bodysuit. It's going to be new. We don't have a teal the man jacket yet. It's going to be new. So
Gotta be.
But we did have a blue guitar, so I did go with the blue guitar, and that is the only thing I've gotten right so far.
Nice.
I don't think I've ever gotten the red shirt right.
That's actually one of the things I got right.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I got that right, and then I got the gold and black bodysuit right, and that's
Nice.
so far. Yeah.
Yeah, I was thinking she's going to bust out the high boots one. Nope.
I think I'm going to save that one for the last night in Indy.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. What's your theory?
We're going to get TS12 on 12/13.
Mm-hmm.
TS12, maybe. I think it's going to be Karma. We get Karma. And then, so she's been doing 3-2-1, 1-2-3s all over the place. So for Midnights at 3 a.m., we got like an extra 7 or 8 songs, something like that. Torture Poets Department at 2 a.m., we got an extra album. At 1 a.m., when we get Karma, we're going to get Reputation. No explanation. And it's okay that she didn't get the pre-sales for it because she would have gotten the pre-sales and stuff for TS12. So it's almost like the anthology where she didn't get the pre-sales for that.
Yeah, That's love what I got. I'm here for it.
And that's kind of a mixture of like some other theories I've had I've heard from other people, and I've kind of mixed it around into my own thing. But
I can't make jokes about that. In the Bejeweled music video, when she goes up the elevator and she's pressing the buttons, I mean, 6 is next, you know, and 6 is black too in the music video.
Okay. So you think Reputation's next?
I do.
Okay.
I do. I'm just going to stick with it. But also there could be, like, as you said, TS12/Karma, and then drop the whole Reputation TV after that. And then next year we'll get our debut. But I do but there's lots of debutation signs.
I know. And it's like, is she just messing with us? Or, and I also feel like if she does, it could be TS12 or debut and Reputation. But if she does one more album that's not already on the poster, then it fills the poster out too.
Exactly. The poster.
Wouldn't she want the poster filled out now? There's only a month left.
Right?
What are we going to fill it out on the last day and then say, oh, where are we going to hang it?
Right. You know what? No, the poster definitely messes with me. And also, you know, the clock at the beginning before the tour starts, you know, and it's like all the tiles are flying around and there's a countdown. So on one side, it's not even. If you look at it.
Oh, God.
There's tiles missing from the left side, I think it is, which is weird. And then also, someone kind of hinted at this. It was on a TikTok I watched, of course. But they didn't, I don't think they said it as much as this. But, so like, the beginning, the colors are very much like sunset, right? It's like the sun setting, it's like oranges and pinks.
Oh, yeah,
you know, setting like the lover, like everything. It kind of looks like a sunset. And then
all the
as
sunset
you're going
stuff right now.
night, right. It's like you're going through it, right? And then all the different clips to each era, like with it turning upside down, it's giving like you're dreaming, you know? So you're like going into the night. And then it's like by the time you get to Midnights, it's like straight on, like full on nighttime. So what if like the very last day, like she walks through the door and it's like daylight or something? There's something with that orange door.
Oh my God, yeah, the orange door. No, for sure, dude. And the whole daylight, there's so many theories with the whole daylight spectrum. And like that new dress is the daylight spectrum, and there's all the moons. I mean, the moonstone bodysuit. The eclipse has been a big thing. Like
the eclipse,
the star sign thing fitting to the clock, the albums, the vinyl clock.
Right.
You sound like lunatics.
I know. It's okay. She made us this way, though.
Thoroughly trained. Trained.
Right. No, we're onto something here.
So you sent me today a TikTok about like all these poor Swifties getting scammed by this woman putting on this like event at the Holiday House.
Yeah, so it's the Holiday Inn, but I think she has this company called Holiday House or something. But I remember seeing this article saying one Swiftie booked like 500 rooms for the Eras tour, and here's why. And I never really looked into it because I just wasn't. It seemed like really clickbaity to me.
Yeah.
But apparently, this girl like scammed these people out of so much money. Like,
oh my gosh,
she would like the room per night was $879 at a Holiday Inn. Which it's like, okay,
That's wild.
you know, the hotels are probably charging more because they know it's the Eras Tour, but still,
Not
that's
that
insane
much.
for a Holiday Inn. Right. And she had arranged all these events. Like, one was a brunch, which was $125. But surprise, the brunch was the continental breakfast that was included with your stay.
And you know that's always so
Event.
disappointing too.
Dude, for sure. It's like bagels and scrambled eggs
Like
that are made out of like powder that you add water to. You know? It's not
the
some like
eggs.
gourmet catered meal.
Wow. Oh my God.
When people started calling her out on it, she's like, I spent over 40,000 hours and
I saw
$10,000 of
that.
my own money planning this and blah, 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 blah.
It's like, well, you really suck at planning.
Yeah. And something happened with the Eras Tour tickets themselves, I guess, because that was also looped in with the package.
Oh
I didn't get
God.
that far into the story. But also, this one lady in the group, you know how, of course, usually it's a child that gets the 22 hat. This one lady was like, can you guys help? I need some visibility because my daughter unfortunately has cancer. We love Taylor Swift. We're going to this event. So can you share my post so Taylor has a better chance of seeing it? Blah, 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 blah. And the girl responded saying, everyone gets sick, you know, everyone has family, you know, you don't deserve it more than anyone else, or she doesn't deserve it more than anyone else. Saying this about like a little girl who's terminally ill.
What a monster.
I know. Yeah.
Oh
It's so
my
sad.
God.
Double pink.
Pink. And pink.
What is the reason?
Not at all on my bingo card. Is
No.
pink even a color?
I think so. Right?
Okay. I know there's red orange. Oh yeah, it looks like
Yeah.
pink's on there.
Huh. I never choose it.
I don't think yeah, me neither. Dang.
Yeah.
We don't have a pink album yet. Because
Is-
I do keep
is Lover?
Lover's pink. Lover's pink. Yeah.
Right.
What's the heart color for Lover? I think it is
Look at the
pink.
Instagram post.
That's what I'm going to, yeah.
I'm sorry, putting debut as green. That's crazy.
It is crazy.
I mean, I guess what other color would she put it as?
I think that's what, yeah, it is. And it is pink for Lover. Pink, yeah, Midnight's. What's brown? Reputation, Lover, Folklore. I can never say Folklore or Folklore's gray, and then Evermore's brown, and then Midnight's is blue. Okay. Another night of clownery down the drain. Oh, did you
Yep.
see recently came out and said that Taylor like had the option to do dynamic pricing with the Eras Tour tickets and that she didn't? I thought that was kind of cool because everyone was giving her so
Yeah.
much flack back when all the like the Ticketmaster stuff was going on, which was all on Ticketmaster and their systems being trash.
Right.
But yeah, it's pretty cool that she had that option and decided against it.
That is pretty cool. And I feel like her next tour, the ticketing situation will be different.
I hope so.
feel
I really
like-
hope she would just like open up her own ticketing company.
She has the means. She should.
It's hard though because Ticketmaster and Live Nation own all the stadiums. So I don't know if she's able to step away from Ticketmaster because Ticketmaster is owned by Live Nation and Live Nation owns all of the arenas and stuff. So,
Isn't that like a monopoly?
be an
Isn't that
issue.
illegal?
but what are they going to do? Say, no, you can't come here, Taylor Swift?
Right.
You know,
Who is gonna say no? You're right.
she has the power. If anyone could,
No, you can't
Like-
come here, Taylor Swift.
right, like if anyone could like break that cycle, I feel like it's her because she has the means and she has the influence.
When we're like 70, talking to our grandkids, we'll be like, "Oh, I used to watch the Eras Tour on my iPad. We had to
Oh my
squint to
gosh.
see it."
This is going to be like go down in history though. I feel like it's a pretty cool time
Yeah.
to be a Swiftie. Like was it with you guys we were talking about the other day about Woodstock being like the comparison? Like
Oh, That's cool. I don't think so. No.
I can't remember who I was talking with. Okay, it must have been someone else. But um, yeah, some guy. Oh, it was on TikTok. I wasn't talking to anyone. It was a TikTok. But it was the girl who was on the plane with Scott Swift. Did you see that?
Oh, I did. Yeah, I saw
Yeah.
like I saw like the thingy about it. Yeah.
Well, it was the girl who sat next to him, and like he was talking to her the whole time and stuff. And Scott said that like the big thing from like his era was Woodstock. That was like the huge musical thing, and he thinks that the Eras Tour is gonna have like the same impact. Not that it's at all the same as Woodstock, but like
Mm-hmm.
it kind of carries the same like historical weight as Woodstock.
Oh, for
And I could
sure.
see it. Yeah. Okay, so that's all we have for tonight's episode of Crimenelia Street. Follow us on TikTok at Crimenelia ST Podcast. Follow us on Instagram at Crimenelia Street, or send us an email at crimeneliast@gmail.com. Bye, clowns.
Bye, clowns.